Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to another recording of Fallout New Vegas. So, we don't really have a reason why we can blow up this facility. And I find it very frustrating that you can find an area and have that prompt, but not really know why or who would ask you to do this. Some strategic placing in C4 is enough to destroy both the cave and the vault. Why would I want to do that? Is the question I have to ask. That feels like that's Mr. House. Even though we haven't even met Mr. House yet. It definitely feels like if there is going to be somebody, it's either going to be Caesar or Mr. House or some other bad guy, which I assume Mr. House is a bad guy, is going to want us to create chaos and have all the factions kill themselves off or die in accidents, such as blowing up Vault 19. And yeah, even though I was frustrated, I think I'd rather not just choose wanton random violence. Although, speaking of frustration, something has to be said for the layout of this area. Inside this area, I can't just fast travel, which is really what I would just like to do. Suppose we could try. And I think we need to move the main story forward. Anyways. Yep, can't fast travel from this location. Well, this will take us. There's also a reactor. That is over here, and yet our systems room that's over here, and then there's nothing in this systems room, which makes me wonder if there isn't. Let's turn on the flashlight so people can actually see. Maybe there's some secret door here we're not even aware of. It does seem to me like there is a decent possibility that some of the segments. What part is this? This should be the. This is like the white section. I guess this is probably the easiest way to do this. I think I may have opened this door and squashed this guy. Otherwise, this guy. No, I think he just got killed because I sided with the other guy. So there's still some mystery as far as Vault 19 goes. As far as quests go, otherwise, this you can depend on me acquire the gunrunner's secret manufacturing from their factory quest. This would be a stealth quest. We could try it since we're going to go free side east. We don't have any stealth boys on us. Our stealth is fairly high, though.
Yeah.
What you would want is to maybe knock people out. So maybe not have any item equipped, just fists. So we haven't done anything in Freeside. We walked through it and then we basically ignored it. That was just a Freeside thug. Did I just encourage somebody to attack me because I disarmed myself and wasn't wearing a gun or brandishing a gun?
Come to Mick and Ralph's for all your shopping needs. Come to Mick and Ralph's for all your shopping needs.
This is a deeper part of Freeside. They're both called Freeside. We should investigate the kings and just talk to them. I, at some point, got the cantina back in my inventory. Not that I was ever running out of
Seems like they've got
getting thirsty in easy mode. Alright, let's see if we can talk to the King's gang member. King.
Watch yourself. There's some unsavory types about.
What do we have here? Another petitioner for the king? Who's the king? You believe this, asshole man? In Freeside, the kings rule. And the king rules the kings. Got it? Anything's possible, I suppose. How much is it worth to you to meet the big man?
Seems like our speech is high enough. Oh, otherwise 500 cats would probably be what you need.
You know what? I like you. Half the people around here, they forget who runs this place. Head on through. The king's the bored-looking guy by the stage. Can't fucking miss him.
Okay, so this kind of highlights where something can be fairly boring and just you could have a much busier area, but they didn't bother to do it. Here's Rex, a half robot dog, or more than half, I'd say. And then here's the king. Supposed to be an Elvis lookalike. Yeah, I guess he kind of looks like Elvis when he was young. Definitely not the later fat Elvis.
Look, Rexy, someone new's come to see us. Poor boy. He hasn't been feeling well lately. I'm the king. What can I do for you? Maybe so. Maybe so. You look like you might be able to handle yourself. Tell you what, you do me a favor, and I'll have some more work for you when it's done. Sound good? I'll start you off with something easy. Did you notice the bodyguards for hire near the gates when you entered Freeside? It's good money if you can stay alive long enough. Freeside's not as safe as it used to be, so the money is well earned. Usually well earned, that is. Recently, my man tell me that one of those bodyguards, a fella named Oris, is making a little too much money. He's making a killing in repeat business. Once someone hires him, they never want anyone else. I want you to find out why. Specifically, I want you to hire him. Play the part of an innocent tourist and follow his lead. If nothing happens, so be it. But I'm guessing things won't go so smoothly. Call it a hunch. So, what do you say?
Sure.
Okay then. Once you part ways, return here. I'll look forward to hearing your report. Oh, and take this to cover the hiring cost.
So now we have yet another quest. Which that's the whole point here, is that we would want to find out what quests we can do, what can we get XP from. This is a really empty building. It is nicely decorated, though, I have to say. There's not just a bunch of the same textures on the walls.
You want your hair done too? No, no, no. The kings are many, and their hair must be perfect.
Interesting. So he might give me a haircut to look like the kings, which would be weird since I'm playing as a female character. They probably didn't think of that at all. Really, it's just nothing here, though. Beer pong. Not something you'd even expect to exist in this world. Yeah, I don't know if beer pong existed during that time frame that Elvis Presley would be around. Of course, if these are people who are obsessed with Elvis Presley 200 years in the future plus, then wouldn't be surprised if they've got some things wrong. The game is still, I think, inconsistent as far as whether searching loses you karma versus taking loses you karma. There's just nothing here. A whole building designed. Best case scenario would be you are told to just like go through here and kill all the kings. And even that isn't going to do too much with this layout. Just be a lot of guerrilla duck and cover type shooting. Pacer seems to be the only named character in the whole place. What this really feels like is just a rigid desire to have every faction have a location. So here's a king groupie.
I want to go to the strip. We never get to go to Gomorrah anymore.
And here's another king groupie. And here's a big heart mattress, which is, this is basically the same thing you saw in Fallout 3, is that there was one guy that had a couple of girls. I think 3 girls in that case. And they were in kind of this nightwear, sleepwear in Fallout 3, and that was about as lewd as the whole game ever even began to imply it would get. A whole bunch of King's outfits. So yeah, if you were going to make every faction have their own facilities out of rigidness, at least having a pile of outfits, if they are unique outfits, does have an extra value to it. Let's see. What is the way out? Here.
You got something you want to say?
Okay. Got a little distracted there. It's not what we were really trying to do. Trying to reach Atomic Wrangler or Freeside. What quest are we on? Let's make sure we didn't change quests. No, we didn't.
Lasers, plasma, pistols, grenades. We've got it all at the Silver Rush.
I'm also supposed to kill everybody at the Silver Rush, I believe. At least I have a quest to do it. I should probably talk to them and see if they have any quests for me. Hey, we can play the slots. Must purchase chips before you can play the game. Well, if I got some chips, I could play the slots. Let's see what this guy has to offer.
Welcome to the Atomic Wrangler. What can I get you?
Let's see. Start with this. Apparently this was a quest.
Really now? This is news. We could possibly supply what they need, but they would need to supply us in kind. They have the tech know-how to make our stills work more efficiently. Pure alcohol means we can get our customers drunk quicker. Getting our
You don't
customers
want to
drunk
do that in the
quicker
bar.
means more caps spent at the tables and stuffing slots, if you know what I mean. Plus,
That doesn't
the
work
extra
that way.
alcohol can serve as surgical disinfectant for their needs. The followers are a good lot. They've stitched up our boys in the past. Good. We can supply them with all the med-X they need. For the fixer, we'll only be able to send over some basic drug components. We're not in the business of getting people off drugs, so we don't really dabble in that side of things. The followers should be able to whip some up with what we have available, though. They just need to agree to fix up our stills and keep them maintained, plus cover the cost for raw materials needed to make the alcohol. We've got the basics covered, but now you mention it, we have had unusual requests from some of our wealthier customers.
So this whole game really
Recruit
is just
escorts to match
wandering.
these customers' proclivities. I'd be willing to pay you finder's fees. Our wealthiest client has a thing for ghouls and a thing for cowboys. He wants an escort who can satisfy both fetishes. Plenty of customers have said they'd be willing to pay extra for a suave talker, someone who can fake the boyfriend experience real good. And then there's these disgusting robot fetishists you may have heard about. Well, those creeps want a sex bot. If you ever run across a sex bot, not that I'd ever want one within 100 feet of me, but I gotta be a businessman about it. Just direct them to the Wrangler. I'll pay you when they show up. The best place to start would be with Ralph, at Mick and Ralph's over on the east end of Freeside. Other than that, your guess is as good as mine. We ain't scraping to get... For the right caps, I might be able to put in a good word. Alright, I can chat you up, but it's gonna cost you. I'm not risking my reputation around here for nothing.
I could pay 1,000 caps right now and do that, but I'm gonna
What
say
do you
no.
need then?
Probably don't need to do that.
Sure, take a look. Another satisfied customer. Well, I wasn't expecting the off-duty. Till next time.
So yeah, it's important to point out that at least in the real world, bars don't want to get their patrons drunk faster because then they become belligerent and need to be thrown out or sent home. It's way better to have them stay around and slowly sip on the alcohol and get a second or third drink out of them, charging at least $5 a drink, which, yeah, even in casinos, if that is still the way they mostly want to do things. Casinos don't want to deal with drunk gamblers. They want to deal with tipsy gamblers who are just a little bit buzzed.
Shove off. You're making my luck turn bad.
Okay, so this was the guy we were supposed to convince to quit.
Fuck no. No matter what that old bitch McLafferty says, my dad said I could be in charge of the New Vegas branch. Besides, I got into a little money trouble with the Omertas. If I quit the Crimson Caravan, how am I supposed to get the money to gamble?
We'll do the speech check. We still haven't seen these Omertas.
What? No, wait. Look, I just need time. Don't rat me out to them. You want me to quit the Crimson Caravan? Fine, I quit. You can tell McLafferty that she won't see my face again.
Still don't have any chips. And the game's crashed. This is getting really, really bad as far as the crashing goes. Last episode, the game crashed, felt like at least 2 times. We're only 20 minutes into this episode. We've got another crash. I think a lot of it may be that I'm just moving too fast for the game. Turning around. Like anytime it wants to do some heads up display on the screen, you finished a quest. This means I'm gonna have to exhaust all the dialogue.
Welcome to the
again.
atomic. For the right cap. What? Well. Give me a shout if you need anything else.
Shove off. You're making my luck.
Right, don't push any buttons. Just let the screen pop up, let everything fade out, then make a safety save just after that. You would think that the game would make an autosave after you finish the quest anyways, but it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Whoa, baby. Am I looking at a mirror? Or are you just that ugly? Whoa, Nelly. There's insult comedy, and then there's psycho comedy. I guess you aren't the heckler Garrett hired to spice up my show. What do you want? Yeesh, is my act that bad? Or are you just that dumb? Yeah, that's right. Got me a nice juicy contract with the management. Okay, I admit it. I ain't exactly rowing in caps here. But what do you want? I'm under contract. I can't get
Definitely
out.
feels like they only have like 5 voice actors doing all the characters.
Either you need to get your eyes checked, or that famous fleeting thing is true. And since I happen to be world famous, you must be going blind. Name's Hadrian. Bet you never saw a ghoul in a suit before, huh? Of course, you don't exactly strike me as the worldly type. Yeah, go on.
Man,
Scram.
this is just like pitch black if you cannot see anything at all.
Something you need, kid? Hunting and killing. Plain. Bingo. Now, if you're done asking, be quick and something you need, kid? You've got a mouth on you, kid.
So Caleb McCaffrey not doing anything?
At least the local.
Let's talk to
Welcome to the
Casher.
Atomic Wrangler. Looking to exchange?
Let's see. NCR for chips, Legion money for chips.
How many chips would you like? Here's your chips. Is there anything else I can help you with? How many chips would you like? Here's your chips. Is there anything? How many? Here's your chips. How many? Here's your chip.
How many chips do I have?
How many chips would you like?
Seems like I can get 100 chips
Here's your chips.
over and over again. But these are specifically chips that can only be played here, so that's probably way too many chips.
Wealthy NCR shits wandering through.
See if we can play some blackjack then. Let's see. Right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger. We have 440 chips. 200's the max bet. I could have just hit X to do that. And deal. Okay. I'm confused. I'm very, very confused. Like, why are they putting my cards on the left and my chips on the right in a different spot? Apparently they don't know how to play blackjack. Or I don't know how to play blackjack. You know what? I'm going to just stay. And now we have 640 chips. So let's deal again. Let's see. Probably worth surrendering here at a 14. Let's hit 20. Okay. Notice you don't have any rolling count or anything here. Remember, my luck is very high, and so unlike a real card game, I suspect, like, I really suspect I'm probably getting quite the advantage here. But my luck's not as high as it could be. And the only reason I would engage in this at all is because I'm assuming this would do something for us. Yeah. So we played blackjack 5 times. Let's go ahead and just play blackjack 5 more times. 4 more times. Just got a blackjack and it played a sound effect. I think that is an achievement sound effect. Yep. Have we played enough hands? I think we have. There we go. Double down, play blackjack 10 times, got the achievement for that. Alright. Which one would we lose more money on? Max bet is only 40 here. And spin. You know what's crazy is obviously they programmed this, and I don't think any of this gambling is any kind of mini game in Fallout 4. So if it is, it doesn't play a big enough role. Where it would totally make sense that if you a third of the time had to play roulette and a third of the time had to play the slots, and a third of the time had to play blackjack, and then a fourth third of the time, so replace what I just said with a fourth of the time, you had to do the hacking minigame. Or if you were sometimes just playing the slots of blackjack to do the lockpicking minigame also, you could really have some variety there, where there would be other ways. And so that was One-Armed Bandit. Only have to play it 10 times. Clearly they don't really care. Right. Let's see. It says move bet, increase bet. What does the max bet one can do? 200. But there is no max bet on this one. Okay. So you have a double green here, which means roughly there's a 98% chance they will land on black or red. Roulette's about the worst thing to gamble on. So we should really just be betting. One cap. Blackjack was the best one to bet on. And without knowing the without being told the payouts on roulette, I kind of don't know what strategy to even play, if there really is any strategy to play, which there really isn't. The only strategy on roulette is find one that has only a single zero instead of tables that have double zeros. But the better strategy is just not to play. There, I've heard some gamblers talk about some other games where some of the dice games might be more fun with about the same odds as roulette, where everybody on the table is on your side. Craps, it's potentially like that. So it's just like everybody against the house, where roulette is very much everybody against everybody else, because the ball can only land on one spot. I think I've already played 10 games of roulette because I see the achievements already unlocked. Yeah, and I suspect we will end up doing more of that, but probably at higher stakes. And I just have no idea if there's a reward or an achievement you might get if you played 100 games of roulette, or 100 games of blackjack, or 100 games of slots.
Hey.
Of course, those kinds of mini games.
Welcome to the Atomic Wrangler. Looking.
Let's see.
In what currency would you like your payout? Non-caps currencies will have fractions paid out in caps. Gaps it is. Later.
So, yeah. Maybe if you were in the loading screen, maybe if you had nothing else going on. This is funny to have a bathtub in a casino, in a public bathroom. Yeah. Although it's not the worst idea. If public bathrooms were just traditionally had one separate door with a stand-up shower in it, wouldn't be the worst idea for people needing something like that. In an emergency. Yeah, I really don't know how you make slot machines make sense, though. Here is a much better decorated stage than the King's area. There is a game called No More Heroes. It has an interesting twist in that you're doing some hack and slash sword swinging. Interesting. I wasn't expecting a load scene here. And when you attack somebody with the sword swinging, it can sometimes cause a very quick slot machine to pop up and give you potentially a reward based on the slot machine element. If there were some kind of crazy guns in this game that had slot machines just on top of them, just tiny little, let's see, like dials on top of the sights, and every time you shot there was a chance that you would have won some caps. That would be cool, but that would be more closer to something like a Borderlands crazy gun, not a Fallout crazy gun. The crazy guns in Fallout aren't, by modern standards, crazy enough. You'll get an alien gun, and that's about it. I don't get the whole deal with the air vents. We haven't seen any air vents anywhere else. Seems like there's just some doors here. Doors for prostitution, I would assume. I suspect that door actually opens into this area.
You again. What do you want now? One of the families that runs the strip. They're a pack of cheaters, but you still don't... I wanted to be where the action is, so I got my... everything. Yeah, whatever.
This guy is glitched. He's not supposed to be on this side.
I knew that the cons are animals. We should kill them like vermin.
Okay. So, the reason we came in here was because we were trying to do the quest which quest was it even? This one. We were doing this one. Acquire the Gunrunner secrets manufacturing from their facility. And so that quest wants us to the gun runners. So we'll just fast travel to the gun runners. Okay. So this might be the reason why we have a companion dismissal terminal. Let's make a safety save. So that we need to just sneak in. Okay. So we're gonna sneak into this facility without being seen. At least we think we're going to sneak into this facility without being seen. I don't know how we really are going to pull that off. Though. I'd say first things, let's wait until it's nighttime. Nighttime. My assumption here is that being in the dark would make it harder to be seen. We want all of the gun runners' knowledge anyways, as far as how to make guns. So sneak goes up, we go in. Are we going in the front door to the headquarters, or are we going in maybe a back door? There's really a question whether this is whether I can pull this off. This may really be a case of all I have to do is sneak into the headquarters. So it is just the front door.
Hey! You like that?
Alright. So no back door. Just have to come in here. Then move is to hopefully not get caught anywhere else. Where am I supposed to be going? I guess would be the appropriate question to ask. Oh, yeah, if I had just followed the map. If I had a stealth boy. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. I just don't think this game is really situated in such a way that you can actually get away with this. And we did it. We totally did it. So that really highlights, I think, how you would not want to really do too much of that kind of gameplay. Merchant.
Hey there, need anything?
Let's see. Weapons, plasma pistols, knife, food I really don't want. I'll take one thing there. Miscellaneous stuff. We'll take, and I don't think there's a good reason to take ammo, although you know, some of this ammo, if I knew what kind of gun I was trying to use, might be helpful. Like if I was low on 5.56 rounds, for instance. I don't even know what type of gun I'm trying to use. Now I'm gonna have to also run back. Crimson Caravan. Is it worth wandering here? You have to go inside a building and then travel inside. It's just easier. Before we do this, see if that lets us learn anything new. Doesn't seem like it as far as being able to craft things. Now we've got to run back and pick up our people. And I don't think I'm going to pick up the same. I don't think I'm going to pick up the same companion. I think we'll go and find another companion. Yeah. Because Boone wasn't really doing much for us. I think we probably have to wait until morning, or I could go find her in her bed somewhere. Which, yeah, that really highlights the silliness of having them all on schedules. It is interesting there are light beams that increase based on the hour. Wouldn't expect her to be wearing a gun.
Couldn't be trusted. Welcome back. The gun runners detected an intruder roaming around, so they'll likely be aware of the theft soon enough. This unfortunate circumstance will prevent us from immediately using their blueprints to manufacture weapons. A pity.
Whoops. Well, we messed up there.
Yes, I understand that he's decided to quit outright and not even ask for compensation. I'm a bit curious what exactly you said to him. Then again, perhaps I'd rather not know. Thank you all the same. I'm very happy to be rid of that man. Most merchant companies, successful merchant companies rather, have them. It can be the
Let's exhaust the rest of this dialogue.
Yes, and that's because we are. All right.
So it sounds like they hire them and then they charge them out the wazoo for expenses, so nobody can work on these work contracts and make any money.
Something has actually come up. A prospector recently came through here. Closer inspection of these caps has revealed them to be the most likely source of these new caps is the old sarsaparilla bottling plant. What would you like to know? People have been counterfeiting bottle caps forever. A bottle cap press... Certainly, bottle caps do wear out or get damaged. Some people even insist on using bottle... We make it a point to scour pre-war... Lots of little things. I know there's... It's been a pleasure.
So, new quests. Now, to disable the bottle cap presses, which, where would that be? In a new location we missed somehow. We really haven't walked from this point to this point. Before I do that, however, I really am bending over backwards to avoid moving the main story forward. Not that I even think too much is going to happen by moving the main story forward. But before I do that, let's fast travel to this Mojave outpost. And let's ask this lady to be our new companion. And see if she moves her story forward. She really would have been the first character that you could have made as a companion, not Boone, come to think of it.
You come around like a bad hat. No, I go with you? So you're looking for someone to help. Walking the Mojave with...
So now we now have the whiskey perk, which I have no idea what that would be. But I imagine it's drinking whiskey. Let's see if we can find it. It would just be at the bottom. When they drink whiskey, they gain damage. So she can just drink whiskey like crazy. Alright, well, that'll work. And then we will go back to Prim, and we'll get Eddie, since Eddie does seem like he is just an extra character.
Someone finally put down that.
We have a whole bunch of items here. Okay. And so yeah, it would either be do the side quests, which I think have more value, or do the main story. And here is one companion quest that seemed to just stop, and here's one companion quest that seems to just stop. And we never got one with Boone at all. And this is the war section that I'm not ready to do anything with. And this is all DLC. Okay. Right. So my thought here is I'd like to find another entrance. Zoom in here. We will drop a marker here. Seems like this entrance here has been found. This is the west side entrance. We want to find the south side entrance. And mostly we're finding it just for the XP of finding it. I have to admit, I'm fairly annoyed that after spending a lot of time trying to raise our sneak up, we still got caught in that sequence. I think that highlights how sneak is yet another system. Just a whole no there. It really is just another system in this game that is not balanced well enough.
I heard all over.
Thorn. I have no idea what the thorn is. And hold to the thorn. Let's see where that takes us. We know we've seen some manholes that have led underground. I suspect this is going to be a fighting ring. Our unarmed is pretty low. If we were going to try and bare knuckle box people, if that's what this really is all about. Yeah, it looks like you would be either bare knuckle fighting animals or shooting animals, which I could probably do, unless they were going to throw some death claws at me. Almost expect that you might be given the opportunity to be a friend to the animals and argue that this shouldn't be happening. More sewers. So the thorn does connect to the north sewers. I guess the question is, does it connect to a south and an east and a west sewers also? Red Lucy's chamber. I don't even know who Red Lucy is. I would assume she's the person in charge of all this. Let's snoop. Again, we really just don't care about that was a dumb guess. Really don't care about losing karma, since it's pretty obvious it doesn't matter. Goals 1 right. Snare 3 right. So we know it's the A in the middle. Yeah, it definitely feels like even if I was to get the perk that revealed every location, I still would need to fast travel to every location and potentially try and talk to every person in that location to try and convince them to start quests. I know I can do this. Weird. Why is this not working? 3 right. There should be something much closer to snare. Voice doesn't match. 3 right. Goals was our first guess. And then I don't see a single word anywhere else. It's gotta be slate. Yep. The extra gibberish words. Unnecessary. We lost karma doing all of that, and that didn't really do anything. So down we go. I guess this is Red Lucy.
I'd remember if I had seen you here before. I'm sure of it. What do you want? The clamor of our bloodthirsty crowds reaches every corner of the wasteland. But I'll pretend that your ignorance doesn't offend me, stranger. This is the Thorn. Here's where the strong make a name for themselves, and the weak are fed to the jaws of hell. You can bet on the contenders. Or, if you have what it takes, be one of the contenders. Be warned. The Thorn demands respect. Break the rules, or offend me in any way, and I'll gut you open for all to see. What do you want to know? The rules are simple. My creatures fight for our pleasure. You can bet on a contender and earn double if you choose the victor. But you can get a bigger share if you risk your skin in the Thorn. Win a fight, and I'll give you a meaty cut of the earnings. I won't tolerate anyone that interferes with the fights. Offend me, and your blood will be the next to spill. Other than that, anything goes. Even if I trusted you, I'd not share my secrets just for your pretty face, stranger. The Thorns is sacred ground, a source of awe. Here we truly rule over the forces of nature, for once. These beasts are slaves to their instincts and hunger for blood. That's a good enough answer for everyone. And it'll do for you, too. Our creatures come from the farthest reaches of the wasteland. The Thorn takes care of them, until the time to spill their blood comes. We constantly replenish our stock, to keep this holy ground soaked red. Only a few brave ones ever earn the honor of serving the Thorn.
So this is just a whole nother command.
Think you have what it takes? The Thorn needs newborn specimens. Bring me 12 giant mantis's eggs. If you accomplish... You'll find egg-carrying mantises in the wasteland. But a wise hunter would search the mantis's breeding ground, like the... You've got just so long.
So, new quest. New quest for something I personally wouldn't really agree to do. But we'll play it for the game's sake.
We don't need the NCR.
So that's the Thorn. Here we have a little rocket ship. Odd glowing lantern. How am I doing such a bad job finding the entrance? Shouldn't be this hard. There we go, we found the entrance.
Someone finally put down that sick motor runner son of a bitch. Good riddance.
Okay. You would think it would take... You would spend more time or start in West Side for as much as it seems like there can be occurring in these outskirts. It almost feels like, and maybe I'm wrong about this, that the whole game just wants you to kind of squeeze in. You start in, let's see, Good Springs here, and then you run around here in a more open world, but then by the time you get to New Vegas, it feels like it just wants you to kind of stay within the bounds of the outer roads. I don't know if that's really going to happen, because I think you're going to constantly run into quests. And that wants me to have giant mantis eggs, which would mean going to hunt a bunch of giant mantises that you would hope that would respawn. I have picked up the occasional egg here and there, but 22 is quite a lot. Now, she doesn't have any armor on right now, so I could give her some armor. In fact, also I should probably talk to her.
Well, now that I'm free, I'd like to pay my respects to the end of Cassidy Caravans. Upside of Vegas, here, Tal. Been weeks since... Got word back... Thanks. Some of... If I'm... Gift for my dad. Mom said... Anyway... You know, like...
So we're just exhausting all this. I really don't care.
Not...
Okay. So she put something on the map, I think, but may have to struggle to find where that was. Was that a quest? Yep. There's a quest we can do, but let's stay focused as much as we can in a game that absolutely is encouraging us to be as ADHD as possible. I do have to think video games of this era need to take some blame, a small amount of blame, for creating systems that lead towards bad habits, OCD habits, collectathon games, ADHD, ADD habits of just not being focused and focusing on one quest. What's funny is it's not even like the players nowadays want that. And even then, players really didn't want that. Like, there's plenty of people that never make it to the credits of games. There's plenty of people that try to skip as much of the side quests in games. That's some weird physics. You'd think these boxes wouldn't move at all, since there's so many other objects that don't move. This is gonna have me overburdened with sunset sarsaparillas. Guess we're going into the factory floor. We may need some C4, something to blow up the whole factory. That would be a nice cinematic way for this to end. Now we've got a long load. And I wonder if the game is going to crash, or if it's just going to stay on this load forever. If it stays on the load forever, this would be the second time the game has done that. If it crashes, this would be about the 20th or 25th time it would have done that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's never been a point where the game has loaded that much. So I have to assume it is just stuck in a loading cycle. So I will stop it, and then I will reload it. One thing about old games and even new games that go with the exclusive full screen mode, which is not really how they want you to use the monitors in using DirectX in Windows gaming. But when they are in the exclusive full screen mode, it's not like I can just move my mouse cursor to my second monitor and stop the application. And a lot of times it's not like you can hit the start menu and then the game will minimize if it's crashed. Alright. So we need to talk to her again, but we'll do that later. So in that case, the save didn't even work. Monte Carlo Suites. Is that even a fast travel location? No? Apparently not.
Guess who won the lot? Gonna fix this bitch.
I have no idea what they just shot at. I don't know if they even killed it. They might just be random different things in the mailboxes now. I almost wonder if item placement isn't procedurally generated when you get within a certain distance of items, and maybe that is where some of the crashiness comes from, is that you walk to a new area and then the game is programmed to spend a lot of extra processing power deciding what is going to be in what box, which that may balance the game out slightly for players, put them in a better chance of winning, but I think just pre-rendering all of that, or pre-establishing where items would be, not really rendering. Rendering is a video graphics term.
Attention, this is happening.
Well, those robots were nothing. And they were hostile immediately, so I don't see seeing a bunch of empty bottles. Oh man. How valuable is the sunset sarsaparilla? Really? These are all going to be empty. I just have to assume they're all going to be empty. There's way too many to bother to look at. What's irritating is that they are effectively empty, but they're full of empty bottles. So, unless see. Unless you got a way of making sunset sarsaparillas with all these empty bottles, which I think there is a way to do that. Seems like we are done. In Fallout 3 there was a section very much similar to this, except for it was Nuka-Colas. We're looking for the star bottle caps. That's the reason we want sunset sarsaparillas. Let me re-mention that. Maybe there was a way you were supposed to sneak in here. Uncovers 3, right? So we know it's not conquerors. Could it be delivers? This whole loading screen's so unnecessary. Unless it really is necessary. 90 XP for getting on the first try. Is that how that's supposed to go? So, I think the general idea is that the robots were refilling all the sunset sarsaparillas everywhere in the Mojave Desert. And that's why there's still a whole bunch of them. I don't know though if it's better for society that we put an end to that. Particularly in this case, unlike Fallout 3. You could have made the same argument in Fallout 3 really, that these bottling plants are connected to the water source, and as such they're converting healthier water at a loss into sunset sarsaparillas. So I guess the idea is possibly that I went the wrong direction. I started on the wrong end. And as such.
Your weapons and submit.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like that the move should have been to make the player enter on one side and then exit on another. However you would want to accomplish that doesn't even really matter. Sunset sarsaparilla lamp. Fattened or flattened. So it's not anything that is ED. Humankind. Is there one other thing between flattened and humankind that would be in the same spot other than the D at the end? No, so it's gotta be bodyguard. So started a robot there, and that's probably the wrong robot to start.
I see my services are required once more. It's about time.
So we started a Mr. Handy. Where is he? I don't know what I'm really looking for.
Don't need this right now. You're just in time for your ass whipping.
So I'm just letting Cass take on the entire fight while I'm searching. I mean, how crazy is that to potentially just miss out on entire gameplay because the obsessive elements here are pointing towards that terminal. Yep.
You're just in time for your ass whipping.
So yeah, I have no idea who she's fighting or shooting at. That is a bombing robot.
Might as well be shooting blanks. Someone's looking to cash their chips early.
It's just people shooting at me. So there is a slight difference in color between a sunset sarsaparilla and an empty sunset sarsaparilla. I imagine the easiest way to do this would be to just take all on everything and then just drop all the empty bottles. Of course, we're just getting one cap every time we open one of these. Unless we're getting a blue cap or a star cap, whatever they're called. And I imagine there's probably a massively larger amount of sunset sarsaparillas I would find if I spent enough energy investigating each area. But I think it's probably prudent just to assume that those areas over there were the good areas as far as sunset sarsaparillas, and the rest of these are empty bottles. Might be beneficial if there was some kind of creature that drank. That was the custodial guy we turned on. Which is a creature that like drank sunset sarsaparillas. Like rad roaches or rats. I heavily suspect I'm not gonna find anything here. Just a bunch of broken robots. Guess there might be an argument around. It looks like a place where you could shoot through it, but apparently not. I can't help but think the ham radios are supposed to be spots where you would activate points on the map, but the game doesn't work that way. So I have no idea what they're doing. Okay. I have no idea what I'm doing, other than just trying to be as thorough as possible. But I think my reward will be nothing for being so thorough. Yes, I guess I'm getting a lot of flamer fuel. I was going to start using the flamer gun. A few caps. If I was really bothering to read all of this. Paid. Just pretend like what you want to read. So they were talking about a contest there from what I could skim. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the blue caps. This door requires a key. Interesting. Which means I've got to go back up here. And let's see if we can find the key. Where would the key be hidden? I don't even know what that door leads to. We might have to just return to the place at a different time. See if we can read a lockpick magazine. See if we have one. I guess the good news is there really has only been 2 or 3 places where we've run into 100 lockpicks. But I think that we are hitting a point where it is going to start to make some sense to get my lockpick up to 100 instead of relying on magazines. So there's some automated messages there. kind of nothing else. Unless there's a secret safe I'm missing. There's nothing in the desk. Doesn't seem like anything on the table. Unless there was something here as far as the automated messages. That we were supposed to find. Seems like this is all just kind of pointless. PR0931 reports an intruder. Yeah. I don't get it. What was so special about finding that? What made it worthwhile? Again, I would just really have to question whether there's some other quest that we would run into that would have us come back to this area. Did we fully investigate this lower section? Guess maybe not, since that door. Empty, empty. I'm not expecting anything in the toolbox. It was Mr. Janitor. Seems to have been killed. So this guy's alive and just sitting there because he thinks he's cleaned up the whole place. It seems. Festus. Interesting. So yeah, everything screams that you should have been forced to come into this doorway and then fight your way to the factory.
Howdy, partner. Welcome to the headquarters of the Sunset Sarsaparilla Company. Wrangle up a stool and listen to old Festus jaw wile.
This is a very odd animation style for a robot in this game.
Otherwise, say, pleased to meet you, and we'll get acquainted. Or, if you have more important things to do than talk to old Festus, say goodbye. New in town, partner? Well, that old... If you're here to redeem your Sunset Sarsaparilla stars, dump them into the... If you don't know what Sunset Sarsaparilla stars are, if you're here to challenge old Festus to a game... Lastly, if you're here about the health advice... These caps are known as sunset sarsaparilla stars. Why are these stars there, and what do they mean? Nobody knows. Except maybe
So this was
old
the
Festus.
Festus character
Rustle up enough
they talked
gold and
about
you can win a prize.
20, 30 years
Get
ago.
out there and start
It feels like
drinking sunset
20, 30
sarsaparilla.
hours ago, realistically.
Howdy, partner. Welcome to the headquarters of the Sunset Sarsaparilla Company. Wrangle up a... If you... While Sunset Sarsaparilla is perfectly safe, a recent independent study, whose validity is currently being challenged, revealed the following. Excessive ingestion of sarsaparilla can lead to deleterious effects, including, but not limited to, kidney damage, nausea, digital numbness, anxiety, loss of visual acuity, dizziness, occasional nosebleeds, joint inflammation,
I've drunk a ton of them. None of that has happened.
sore throat, bronchitis, organ rupture, and halitosis. Note that you'd have to drink a heap of sunset sarsaparilla to match the quantities used in the study. How much, you ask? A lot. A whole hell of a lot. In fact, you'd have to get full as a tick on sunset sarsaparilla to even come close. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, partner, and keep drinking sunset sarsaparilla. Howdy, partner. If you and old Festus are old,
Okay.
if this is your first rodeo with the old Lucky Horseshoes is played with cards, you and old...
I'm not even gonna bother to learn how to play this.
It looks like
Apparently you can't actually play Lucky Horseshoes.
Howdy, partner. If this is your first... Alright,
Let's see.
looks like you got it too, partner. Yeah, you're doing it. Oh, look. Looks like you... Oh. Looks like...
So this is a full-on text thing.
Oh. Look. Look.
So it's just a full text thing.
It looks like you've got a fair number of stars in your saddlebags. You're still a few cards short of a hand, though.
So I need even more lucky stars. But at least we know the quest now. I don't know how many I need though. Let's see. What would they even be under? Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle caps. I have 39 of them. They are extremely rare. I wouldn't be surprised if you need 100 of them. Okay. Let's see. We could go turn in that quest. Or we can talk to her. Let's talk to her and
Well,
finish
now
this
that I'm
part
free of the
first.
outpost, was wondering if you'd mind me. I'd like to pay my respects to the end of Cassidy Caravans.
So that is marked on the map.
Upside of Vegas, here, Tal. Trapped at the Mojave outpost, so I wasn't able to run there when I heard. Been weeks since it was hit. Got word back on. Thanks. If I'm there. All right.
think that's probably enough. So world map. Oh man, I still didn't find the west side south entrance. Oh well, we can find that pretty easily. Let's see. Set that as our quest. Oh. Why is that quest? No, that's not the quest I was trying to collect. Here it is. So we totally just missed it. Which that does bring about another interesting question. I know that there is a door. We killed everybody here, but we couldn't get through this door. So it requires science of 100 or lockpicking of 100. Let's see if we can find a science of 100. First of all, now the right move here would be to do lockpicking 100 first. But what we could do is do that. And I think we had one more lockpicking. Sometimes when you do these bobby pin picks, you swing back and forth too much. Okay. So 2 magazines worth, all of that. This one's also been hacked. Nikola Tesla and you. Microfusion cells. Now, if you pick up a microfusion cell, you would think double tapping A would mean that you should pick up the next microfusion cell nearby. I think that is reasonable for the game to assume. Gun and robot thing. No robot in there. I wonder if the shipping facility opens up to another area, or if this isn't just a door that I somehow missed. This was a fairly small area with lots of robots that we're supposed to find a way to convince them to not attack you by finding key cards or such. Yep. So this was the door. Then. Okay. So we gained a little bit of XP and basically nothing else for taking the extra time to do that. That's fine. Let's move towards our companion quest. Neither one of those quests, those I think likely to give you much in the way of items. Oh, well, items of any interesting, useful value. The question here, definitely to ask, is could you get bored of the game right now and just rush through the main story and actually get to the max level? Or are we forever doomed into a situation where we have to continuously get distracted by side quests? Well, I could certainly see.
The Caesar has marked you for death, and the Legion obeys. Ready yourself for battle.
Immediately become over encumbered. This does feel like a region that is. That was a very awkward way for her to get up. This feels like this area in particular is Legion controlled. Where'd the body go? All that will fix one issue. I guess the question though, we'll have to figure out if we can give Legion equipment to her.
Let's deal.
Seems like she might be able to wear Legion equipment. See what of those she can wear. And then weapon wise, we probably should give her anything we're potentially not going to use. So she can't take Legion armor, but she will wear this armor, which, boy, did they put some female form in the version of this armor compared to the male version of this armor. That is, again, a bit lewd, which is not really going to line up with the sadness of her caravan being decimated.
God, there's almost nothing left. Looks like whoever it was just in the mood for killing. Most of the cargo's ash, too. Not burned, looks like disintegrated. When I heard the reports, I assumed ash meant burned. So close to the Vegas wall, too. Don't that beat all? Must have happened during the day, though. They hadn't made a camp.
So, Mr. House.
No idea. Maybe catch the sun in their eyes? Maybe they wanted the caravan to come to them. Walk into an ambush. We should check the wagon. They may not have got everything. Whatever we find, it's yours. Least I can do for hoofing it all this way with me.
Okay. So, it seems to me like this is going to push us forward towards...
You know what? What happened in my caravan? Not the first time I've heard about an attack like that. One of our caravans got hit a few months back, and the caravan been burned too.
Interesting that there's two
if he made the same mistake,
dialogues.
And that other caravan got hit with energy weapons too. Yeah, it's a ways though. Hell of a detour. You sure? All right then, let's move out.
So, I assume what prompted that second part of the quest was just opening an inventory and closing an inventory. So, what is our next location? It is this one. We've already been here, so sure. We can just fast travel.
More energy weapons hit this caravan. Place has been picked clean. This is Brotherhood level murder here. But they don't do things like that. This was done with a purpose. Let's poke around a bit, see what we can find. Might be something in the wreckage.
I wonder if her quest lines up with Veronica's quest. Maybe there's a trick here.
What's that? Looks like a map. Got the route along the west of Vegas, and they've marked another spot. Over here along this stretch. That's fucked up. Middle of nowhere.
I wish these guys would not be muffled when they cover their face, even though that is realistic.
Yeah. Something's wrong. I can feel it. It's not any closer than the first. So if you'd rather let be, let me know. Alright then, let's move out.
See, this outfit definitely screams something like Matt Moxie from Borderlands. I can't help but feel like Borderlands takes this same mentality of being in a desert way better. The other Fallout games aren't set in deserts, so the comparison doesn't feel as similar. But we've already been there too. Good. This is a real easy quest with all the fast travels, and that's what I thought was going to happen more often than not anyways.
Another caravan burned, except someone made camp here, and I never heard about this attack. Let's look around. Something stinks.
But yeah, the run and gun fun way of playing that Borderlands has in a crazy western desert. really
That does
does
it.
put.
That's all I need to know. Crimson Caravan and the Van Graffs. They were behind burning these caravans, and they've got to answer for them. I'm gonna get some extra ammo, a few bottles of whiskey, and then show them how Cassidy's settle accounts.
There's another way we can get evidence, let the NCR take them down.
NCR? Are you out of your fucking mind? That'd take years. And with the war with the Legion, no way they're gonna waste time running up the Crimson Caravan or the Van Graffs.
Let's see, the harm to the Van Graffs would last longer and travel back west. If I can get the evidence, will you consider it?
Alright. If you poke around the Van Graffs and Alice, fine. But if I see either one go into their camp, I'm gonna start shooting, no matter what you find. Ask them then. Gift for my dad, along with my name. Rose of Sharon Cassidy. Mom said he got the name out of some old world book about dirt pilgrims. Name sure sounds
Let's
sweet,
exhaust the rest of these
anyway,
dialogues.
pendant's a little rose. Originally thought it was one of Mom's tribal necklaces, but no. Came from Dad. You know, like one of the tribes from the east. We got them out west, too. NCR's hardening them up, though, domesticating them. Mom was from east of the Colorado, though. Not sure what tribe. It was before the time Caesar rounded them up, made them Legion. She walked a hell of a way until she crossed paths with my dad, and he convinced her to stop walking. And lucky for me, he was a horny old bastard. Not much to tell. He ended up walking east one day when I was young and never came back. Not a family deserter like some, though. Mom died waiting for him, and she had me to raise. She was sick, but she held off dying until I was old enough to be getting into trouble with the boys. As for Dad, I figure he just got himself lost or dead. Happens. And I'm not all boo-hoo about it, so save your glass for someone who's crying. Not a clue. When he left, I was too in my crib to understand why, and around the time Mom passed, I was too into my teens to listen. Got his name, got this pendant, and that's about it. Short of caps is what taught me mostly. Ammo's expensive, so I learned to make every shot count. And here tell my dad was a crack shot, so I don't want to dirty the family name. Not out of pride. Respect. Dynamite's for when you don't have enough bullets, want to clear a pass, or scare off geckos from a caravan. Some of Twister's out of the divide can block off a pass in no time, so you learn how to handle powder so you don't get trapped somewhere. Any event, I prefer shooting if it comes down to an argument. Don't worry, I'll carry my weight if a disagreement arises. What, you mean like spears? No, none of that. Mom was a tribal, but she didn't teach me anything like that. All right, then.
So she is assuming it's the Van Graffs or Crimson Caravan. I don't know why it would be the Crimson Caravan, but maybe. Like, almost certainly you'd think they would write it in such a way that every character is, every faction is a little dirty, a little bit like less than ideal as far as the relationships would go. Okay. So we now have 2 reasons to go and investigate the Van Graffs, which is going to put us right back in the free sign. And yeah, I think that's going to work pretty well. think that was just a random thug. Yeah. So, it definitely feels like we've made a decent amount of progress today. We're still not really moving the main story forward, but we are at least moving this element forward. This companion quest, which that should help us somewhat. Skill status, everything is in really good shape for level 25. Really, we very likely will have almost everything at 100 before we're even at level 40. We've got a ton of items that we need to sell, a ton of caps that we have no real use for, and just everything's working as good as you could hope. And yet you still have a game here that just is not knocking my socks off with the experience. It's far too easy in these last few minutes to, and I've highlighted that, it's far too easy to just kind of fast travel from point A to point B to point C and eliminate anything that would have good pacing as an element there and just rush through the game, which honestly, since you know a game like this is going to be super long anyways, rushing through it's not the worst plan. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, and keep on watching. Thanks.